Merely hours after the collapsed Silicon Valley Bank was put up for auction, U.S. President Joe Biden took the mic to calm the frayed nerves both in the U.S. and across the world. He assured all that American banking system was safe.
Americans can have confidence that the banking system is safe. Your deposits will be there when you need them.
Starting with the Silicon Valley Bank, flowing into the First Republic Bank, Silvergate, Signature, and then rolling into Credit Suisse. I think what we are witnessing is, one, a crisis of confidence that's really underlying. Looking at the trigger specifically, Silicon Valley Bank, I think what we saw was what you term as poor interest rate management, interest rate risk management. So Silicon Valley Bank had a niche market. They were picking or grew their business focusing on startups within the Silicon Valley, that's the name.
A critical interest rate decision on the U.S. central bank weighs on banks all over the world, including Uganda, with the traders wondering if the federal bank's continuous rate hikes will ever come to a halt. In this interview, we learn how Uganda is holding up in regards to reserves and how the Bank of Uganda is managing the situation.
Does Uganda have enough reserves? Interesting question. I think it depends on who you ask. Reserves have dropped, yeah. So that means that we're not where we want, but it's not unique to Uganda. As I've said, as a result of the Fed actions, we've seen that reverse flows, which have impacted our results. So yes, the results are lower. Can we still manage? Yes, I think we're still importing. I already told you that we have an open capital account. You can buy whatever sum of dollars that you need if you need to, or sell. Yeah. So we're still open for business. I think the approach in terms of how the central bank has chosen to manage this, in my opinion, is a standout across the region. You're seeing challenges in TZ, in Kenya, in Ghana, in Nigeria, but we are standing out as like a shining light here.
Scandal and mistrust ended the Credit Suisse 166-year run, where we saw many banks run and withdraw their money. So what have we seen, considering that most African countries borrowed from the Credit Suisse? Kenyans have been scavenging for dollars despite the shortage attributed to the increased shipments of the raw materials and equipment in the wake of recovering the economy.
Their deposits. And that again starts spiraling into a liquidity challenge. Then that started spiraling across other weak banks. So Credit Suisse had already been struggling going into this year. If you recall, towards the end of last year, their key investor, the Saudi National Bank, did indicate that they're not going to put in any more money into the bank. So for it was limping getting into this year. So when investors start pulling or selling off stock of what they perceive as weak banks, Credit Suisse already on a sick bed was pulled in already.
Dollar is a global currency for trading purposes. You're going to demand more for the US dollar, all right? So the dollar is always going to be demanded. So that is going to determine how strong the Kenyan shilling is going to be.
What does that mean for us on the continent or in Uganda? During that period, at the peak, early March, you saw a lot of turmoil. The dollar, being a safe haven currency, started strengthening against other currencies. And we've also seen that here. Over the last month, I think the shilling has lost close to about 40 shillings. We're now trading at about 3,750.
In numerical terms, a stronger dollar makes it more difficult to service a debt for those who have borrowed in dollars but whose receipts are in other currency. This is a particular problem for governments and companies in emerging economies because most of their borrowing is in dollars, and Uganda is not left out.
Us here now, we are probably seeing it from a global effect. As I mentioned, the dollar strengthening, that flows in through a weaker shilling. So you will feel it, I'll feel it, the corporate will feel it, because you're consuming imported products. So that will cut across on a macro level. It's not just a given specific sector.
The international financial inclusion and its impact on Uganda could be a big one. Any financial turmoil complicates central banks' focus on inflation. Ronah, Nahabwe, Smart24 TV, Business Today.